Hey everyone, it's Karnak, Star Wars Armada Explained. Today I'm doing an extra special video. I'm doing another community highlight or review. I'm going to be looking at Admiral Tater's shop. It's a very huge fan of Armada, not only just Armada, but lots of other products like X-Wing and Legion. He has a shop on Etsy where he has tons and tons of just really high quality acrylics and tokens and all these just cool nifty things. I actually reached out to Garrett and invited him to join me today on this video review. Garrett, thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, thank you for inviting me.
Perfect. So, Garrett, I just have to ask, what got you started into tabletop gaming and miniatures? Like, what brought you onto all of this? How did you start your journey, I guess?
Yeah, so let's say in like high school, back in like the early 2000s, I didn't even know game stores existed. I had no idea this was a thing. But I did know that they were selling those like TCG like pocket models. And they were like these constructible paper things, kind of like
Oh, I
Star Wars Armada,
remember.
but
Yeah.
yeah, and so I was obsessed with those. And so I had a friend, and we played together with those, but we didn't know anything outside of what that was. And then I was just going through life, still didn't know that like I knew the word Warhammer and stuff like that, but like I didn't comprehend that there was just gigantic hobby that existed. And so in 2016, I purchased a Star Wars Armada core set because I thought, man, this is awesome, and I'm a huge Star
Because
Wars
Star
fan.
Wars, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, this is so cool. And I was actually in college at the time and didn't have a ton of time. I also didn't understand that I needed to buy like $1,000 in expansions
That's how they
to
get
really
you.
get it going. So I had this core set, and I had a buddy from college who also liked Star Wars, and so we played it, and we're like, wow, this is pretty cool. But like, it was the three ships, and then I just kind of set it off to the side, and didn't really touch it for like 2 years. And so I finally graduated, and it was the first summer afterwards, and I was working a full-time job, and my wife and I are just living in our house, and I was finally like, I'm gonna really look into this, and so I uh, decided to jump into the game when nothing was available at stock prices, so that was nice. And so I spent a huge amount of time like just sourcing stuff, mostly off eBay. And then finally, in August of, I guess, yeah, 2019, I or 2018, sorry, 2018, I went to a store championship as my first game. There was like three of us there, and it was an absolute blast. I got absolutely decimated, and I was hooked. And yeah, that's how. I mean, that was it. Like so, from that point on, I was like, okay, this is something that I've been missing out on my entire life.
I can absolutely relate in terms of like when I first started. I'm like, oh, this seems because I did a lot of research because I heard about X-wing, saw X-wing, and then I heard about Armada. I almost jumped into X-wing, and I was like, oh, Armada seems like this would be way more like my playstyle and what I'm looking for. And ultimately, yeah, I'm glad I made that decision. I know a lot of people enjoy X-wing, definitely not my bag. And yeah, I went to my first tournament and like you said, just creamed because you show up with like, you don't know any of like the combos or interactions or stuff. You just show up with just crap pretty much. You get
Oh
beat.
yeah,
And yeah, luckily the more experienced players, will help you out and give you pointers and things. But yeah, I've been hooked on Armada, for years myself, and it's just a fantastically well balanced game. Does it have issues? Of course, every game, no game is perfect. But out of everything that I've tried and played, I mean, I just deeply love Armada, and I'm just very happy that I can be part of the community. Which kind of leads me into my next question. You kind of already answered it already with when you started Armada. Have you gone to any of like the larger like tournaments, like the regionals or champions or anything like that?
yeah. So I went to Gen Con last year, and that was an amazing experience.
Oh, so I have met you then. I was
You
trying to
you did
think.
meet me. Yeah, you had
Yeah.
your what is it, Krennic
Yes.
director Krennic outfit on. That was pretty fun. That was a pretty awesome event. It was just great to see everybody, meet everybody, especially some of the like the really, really good players. It was just
Hmm.
phenomenal to see these guys, watch these guys play, and I was just like, I'm just, I'm just a scrub, just wasting people's time here, but it was very fun.
I mean, did you
Uh,
place dead last?
I didn't get dead last, so
See, then
I'm
you
happy
did just
there.
fine. I went to Nova in 2018, 17, something like that. I placed dead last at that tournament.
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean, I went to regionals a couple months ago, and it was I've never been beaten so bad in my life. It didn't matter what I did, but I did get dead last at that. That was horrible. Um,
Just like with all things, it just if you want to place first, I mean, you got to play a lot. I mean, you got to yeah. It's just like with anything, you got to play
oh
a
yeah,
lot.
absolutely. And then so I went to Gen Con, and then I also went to Nova, which was also super fun.
Nova's a great event.
Yeah, I definitely want to go to that again. I hope that's going to be available this year, given the current global situation. So
If Gen Con happens, Nova will happen, but I like to think that Nova will fall. If Gen Con doesn't happen, I don't think Nova's going to happen either.
right.
So
Yeah, and then I was gonna go to Adepticon this year and do the last chance qualifier, and
yeah,
then meet a bunch of awesome players. But we all know how that
we all
went.
yeah no I trust me I was definitely, even though I wasn't going to be playing, but I was still disappointed because I was going to be judging. I was going to be judging with one of the former developers, Brooks, and it was just going to be a fun event, and I was so looking forward to it, and the team tournament and all that. Yeah, it's just, it is what it is. We're all just trying to do our best to make do, which kind of leads me into spending, like with most of us, spending more time on the internet and looking at stuff on the internet. Should we be buying things on the internet, that go within your budget? But for me, I've been buying products from you for a long time, from the Tater Shop, and just getting, your acrylic. He's got on here. Let me bring it up. You can't see it, Garrett, but everyone else will be able to see it. He's got range rulers for everything. That's all broken down for close, medium, and long. It's got all the distances marked out. And I want to. I mean, he's got a variety, huge variety of selection, colors, and I personally got the clear ones because I like to see underneath it, so it can absolutely be certain if something is touching cardboard to cardboard. Some people like the color ones, um, and just tons of different customization options, which is just really cool because a lot of people like showing up with like a theme or a set and things of that nature. So, Garrett, what got you into like starting all of this? And we'll talk about all your cool stuff in just one second, but like I want to hear the story of why and how this got rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. So um, so then I got into the game right. I went to that store championship. I finished up, and like anybody who's playing a miniatures game, you immediately go to the internet and look for accessories. And I was looking things up, and I couldn't find anything that I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. I found the Recreator. I ordered a tool set from them. I think that's their name, and they were great. But there's just I would look for stuff, and then X-Wing would show up, and they've got
Oh,
everything under the
tons.
moon, right? I mean, there's like 500 different people making 5,000 different X-Wing things, and I was like, why can I not buy anything for Armada? So that's what kind of motivated me because I was like, well, if I can't buy it, I guess I'm gonna have to make it. So I got a 3D printer, and that's where I started. Was just like a simple 3D printer, and I started printing off little trays for my own use. And I was like, well, let's see what I can if anybody else wants these online. And I gotta give a huge shout out. There was a gentleman up in I think Wisconsin. I think they're part of like the ever heard of the 920th Joint Task Force
Oh yeah.
group? I think his name's Ben Darnell. I hope he doesn't mind saying his name, but he ordered one of my trays and he left me a review on Etsy. And I think he's like single-handedly the reason I'm where I am today because once you get a review, people look at your shop.
Mm-hmm.
And so he just took a chance, and that was pretty incredible. And so I was 3D printing stuff and selling them, and then I was just saving that money and putting it away for a laser engraver. And so eventually I got to the point where I saved enough after a couple of months, and then just started pumping things out. And the first thing I came out with was rulers, obviously, as that's what I wanted first was some fancy rulers, and then we just started expanding from there. I just started making ship trays, template trays to put the rulers in, kind of like the X-wing people had, and yeah,
Perfect. So yeah, I was gonna mention like you look at the complete set, like everything in one, and it's got magnetic locks on it, right? It magnetically seals.
That's correct. Yep.
Which you can, if I blow up the image here, you can see that's on the corners there. Which that's just like, for me, like that was just like, oh my gosh, like everything fits in there nice and neat. Because how many times, guys, have you shown up to a table and you're pulling crap out of bags and you're trying to place it all out so you can get to it, and you're just spending so much time setting up that you're not, in a tournament setting, every second is precious. And so, like, you don't want to be spending 15 minutes on setup when you can be spending 5 minutes on setup. And that's what's great about these trays and your organizers and all that. Just makes it so easy. Oh,
Yeah, and I'm a huge aesthetic person. And like, I'm a sucker for things looking
oh
good. So
yeah. And
it's
that's
a it's a
why,
it's a problem in my life.
yeah, and that's why I want to point out, guys, like these, like the objective tokens and like the interdictor tokens, like the level of detail, like it's hard to show with just pictures on the internet, but like when you actually physically get them in person, and I would show you guys mine, but again, like it's just hard to like show it up to my camera. It's a good quality camera, but it's not that great. I can't really show off the level of detail. But all these tokens are just gorgeous and beautiful, and they pop on a table. Like you put those things out, and I have people go like, "Whoa, where'd you get that? Where can I get some?" And then, I mean, I'm sure that's how your shop has just exploded in growth. How many orders do you typically do in like a month?
Oh, so I was trying to look at that data for you. It depends. Um, I'm usually sitting at about 30 to 42 open orders at a time.
Holy crap!
Um, and that's why my lead time's so long, because I'm one guy, and I try and process everything as quickly as possible. So, but I really got I'm pretty fast, all things considered, right? Like I can pump out somebody's order like in a day, but the problem is, I've got 30 people in line in front of that person who ordered that day. So, but I've never, I deliver everything on time, so I haven't had any problems with that. But so yeah, I mean, I've got work every day, which I'm super thankful for, especially at this time, because I'm a self-contained shop in my home. And I can really do a lot of control as far as like, making sure everything's disinfected when it comes in, and then making sure I'm sending out things safely. Because I've been basically self-quarantined for about 2 years now, just sitting in my home.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I process typically about probably like 25 to 30 orders a week. So, and then those range from somebody ordering just like a set of rulers to somebody ordering, a temple tray, 20 different ship trays to go with their temple tray and rulers, plus all the tokens. So it could be a large range as
Yeah,
far as the size of stuff.
I know as soon as I saw that you had, I'm trying to find where they went. There they are, salvo tokens. As soon as I saw you had salvo tokens, I was like, oh man, I got to put an order.
Yeah.
I had to get the, because I have the super nice acrylic, and that's what I wanted. Another point I wanted to ask you about. Does FFG contact you to produce anything for them?
No, I don't know who they use. I
Because
think
man,
because they
because some of those ship trays look awfully suspiciously familiar to what you
Yeah,
put.
no, they're not related, but I mean, there's only so many things like design-wise, like there's nothing revolutionary you can really do,
Hmm.
like as far as like components fitting on a tray together, you know what I mean? So,
Okay. Because
but
yeah, it's because I was wondering about that because like the defense tokens and like the trays and all that were like boy, these looks like Tater did it. But then, as you probably also well aware of, like the championship rulers are always short. They
oh
are
yeah,
always
so
freaking short.
I forgot to mention this, and this was a critical part of my beginning. I forgot to mention this. This is important. So, as any young and dumb Armada player starts off, I went to eBay and ordered somebody's like Nova Open rulers,
Oh yeah.
and I paid, I don't know, I think like $75 for them off eBay, and I
Oh
was super excited, because all I had was the cardboard. I got these rulers in, and I sat down, and I was like, oh, these are great, these are perfect. And then I held them up next to my cardboard one, and I was like, wait a second. I mean, they were like a full quarter inch off, like
yeah.
line wise. I was like, what is going on here? And then I started doing a lot of research, and I started collecting all sorts of different rulers from different championships, and they were just all different. and all wrong. I think the gold standard I found was the 2016 Store Champ 2 set, the green ones with white paint on them.
Yes.
Those are like the gold standard. And then I also know that the 2017 Store Championship ruler that's like green on one side, red on the other, and it's a double-sided
Yes.
one.
That one also is right.
It's right, but the close range on it is longer than any other ruler ever made by FFG. So pro tip out there for everybody who wants an edge there.
Yeah, it's just interesting that they just can't seem to get their standard of cut to be perfect. And I just
Yeah.
want to emphasize again, guys, I've been totally happy. Like these, because I ordered my first set, like you said, I got it from Kaga 2 in the UK. And when I got them, they were all long. They were all too long. And I had to find a guy here who had a laser cutter to laser cut them perfect. Even then, it wasn't like perfect cut. So that's why I've been
Yeah, it's
really
hard
happy
to
with
post.
yours.
But yeah, the way I got them accurate was, I collected all these rulers, and then I was like, okay, well, this isn't going to help me. So I had the green ones that I knew were good. And then I just went out and I tried to find as many cardboard rulers as I could. And so I collected I think at this point I have like 15 of them. And depending on the production year of when somebody got a core set or when the core set was made, the cardboard ruler can sometimes be different.
Yes.
So I did my best to find them all, and then I just took an average and averaged it out. So
I think that definitely was the best approach.
I thought so too. It was the closest I could get. I still get sometimes people, they'll buy a ruler set and they'll send an image of it and it'll be off by like a quarter of a millimeter, and I'm like I'm sorry, I don't know how much better I can do.
Yeah. I mean, at some point you just gotta go with what the average is and be happy with it. But again, they're leaps and bounds better than wherever FFG gets their official rulers from, because they're always just super short.
Yeah,
So
and I appreciate you saying that. It's a big point of pride for me, is my accurate rulers.
Yeah, and again, that's why I brought it up, because I wanted to make sure people were aware of that. Besides if you get nothing else, get at least what is quote unquote technically correct range rulers from Tater. So, is that your most hotly sold item then? Is the range rulers or?
Kind of. I would say yes, just because they're part of the template tray package. That's my hotly most.
Oh, really? People go for the
thing.
whole tray?
The whole package.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
that's the most hotly demanded one. And then, but I knew that the rulers were the most important part of this game, and so that's why I made the simple range rulers, like the really cheap ones. Because if you just needed some acrylic rulers and you were comfortable with painting them, I'll make them and ship them to you for $12.50 plus tax.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, if we need anything in this community, it's just an accurate set of long-lasting rulers. So I'm happy to be able to do that. But yeah, definitely the template trays, and then at this point, shield dials.
Oh yeah, your
Let me
shield
tell
dials
you,
are so
I've made
pretty.
so many shield dials. I am so sick of shield dials, but I love making them and selling them. But man, shield dials.
Well, yeah, because I mean, I'm sure you've seen the worlds. Have you seen the world shield dials?
I sure have.
Yeah, that black and that gold. And as soon as I came back from Worlds with mine and put them out, everyone in my shop was like, "Oh my gosh! Like I want it. I need it. Where can I get it?"
Yeah, exactly.
Because the cardboard ones are just, they're fine, quote unquote. But like I have had tons of instances where the cardboard will like stick for a moment, and then like I'm nudging my ships, and I'm like, "Crap!" It's like, why did that happen?
Yeah. The reason that's happening, and this bothers me to no end, and it's the same problem with FFG's maneuver tools, the infamous just wibbly wobbly maneuver tools. They just have very loose plastic molding tolerances.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never seen two objects that are the same size if I measure with calipers, which is mind blowing to me. But it makes making things to fit difficult at times.
Yeah, and that's just part of manufacturing and process and all that. And like, I get it. It's still just annoying because again, we're playing Armada. We're expected to play Armada to precision with imprecise tools, and then when those mistakes happen, like that can drastically alter the state of a game. I mean, like you said, with the improper range tools, it's like, oh, I'm out of range. I guess he can't attack me. And then he puts down his range ruler. He's like, no, totally can attack you. And you're like, what?
Yeah, you're like, that doesn't make any sense at all.
But yeah, you got I as you've been talking, I've been going through and showing off your shop and showing all the different things. I know I've gotten, as I said, the defensive tokens and the command tokens. Command tokens, it's so hard to find like a complete set of like one colored command tokens, you know. And I actually
Yeah.
got and I got the bigger ones. Oh man, the bigger ones are so much easier to like, for me visually, because I forget about my tokens all the time. So I actually got your bigger ones, and I made them black on white, so they just pop on the table and they
Yep.
stand out. And man, I don't ever forget my command tokens for stuff anymore, because of that.
Yeah, yeah, I use the red and white, and it just you're right. Visually, it just makes the game easier to play, I think.
So we've talked a lot about what you currently have and what you work on. I know one of your newer items was the new like acrylics for like proximity mines and ignition tokens, and you have that cool little flagship magnet attacher there. So it's obvious that you are taking a lot of time and care not only to just put out what is kind of quote unquote standard, but to just make new stuff. Are you working on anything like new that you want to talk about?
Yeah, sure. So I will say I want to give a lot of credit to my customers themselves. A lot of the new stuff I come out with is because they keep they keep on me, they keep pestering me, making sure I'm coming out with what they want. Um, so I guess the Armada stuff is getting close to like complete, you could say. But I do want to continue to improve what's there. Uh, I know a lot of people wanted squadron indicator slides that are acrylic and not cardboard. That you push back and forth in your little
Yeah.
squadron bases. I've been trying to find a great way to do that, but unfortunately, when I order acrylic, it can have a different tolerance of how thick it is, and so it really comes down to like roll the dice if I'm going to get the right thickness in,
Oh,
if it works well, because those three pieces have to stick together.
that's right.
And so I wanted to come out with those, but I didn't. And I researched, and somebody had come out with them a long time ago, a couple of years ago, and I noticed that was a complaint, and I know exactly why the complaint existed because I'm sure some of them worked great, but some of them were probably way too tall.
It's one of those things you would have to make. You would have to make the base, the slide, and probably the tree for it to get it all to
Yeah,
look perfect. Which that's
yeah.
woof. That's definitely time consuming.
So if I find the ones that work right, I might like set aside a sheet of that acrylic, right, and then make a limited run maybe. But then I feel bad doing. I don't like doing limited stuff because then people feel like they missed out, and so I
Well,
don't want
what
to. I don't leave away the dust.
I'm sure you've already thought about this. I'm sure people have already recommended it to you. Do a like a launch event like, hey guys, in like kind of like I don't like to use Kickstarter as a term, but use a quote unquote Kickstarter. Don't actually do Kickstarter. But be like, hey
Yeah,
guys, I want to make this run of this item product. It's going to happen like a month, 2 months from now. Everyone that wants these items, you know, send in a pre-order essentially, and then I print and ship these to you. And it's something that potentially you could do like, I don't know, every couple of months, because it's one of those things. I'm sure as a producer you don't want to like suck up all your time making all these trees and everything, but maybe it could be an event that you advertise and do it once or twice a year, and that way you get your everyone that wants them up front and done. And yeah, people might be sad that they missed that event, but then they're only anticipating to ensure that they're going to get something the next time it comes up. So
yeah,
I'm sure you've thought
absolutely, and I
about
definitely
that.
could do something like that. So I'll definitely put that on my radar as
Um,
an activity. Um,
the final
so,
the final product I want to point out real quick
uh-huh.
is for the Legion players. As you know, Legion just had huge rule changes. One of those being that silhouette line of sight template. And I just want to point out real quick, you've got one already. I didn't. I was just browsing through and I just
Yeah.
saw it. Like how fast did you whip that up?
Uh, and about a day after they released it, I had like 20 different people send me a message asking me to make one. So I was like, okay, guys,
Oh my
give me a
gosh.
second, I'll get it up.
We need to get this
So,
out there because I'm sure because there's a ton of Legion players. I know Krabick was already complaining like, how are you supposed to get this correct in a tournament setting with like a flimsy piece of paper?
right,
Like, so this is great. I had no
100%.
idea about this. We'll have to try to spread the word about this.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, no, that's the first Leech thing I put up there, and that's something I need to get into. But I'll tell you what, the Armada community has kept me just busy night and day. So I'm thankful for them. Uh, I think I've been saying I'm going to come out with more Legion and X-Wing stuff forever. Just forever keeps going by, and I'm still just sitting here, making shield dials. But
One
which is
day, everyone
fantastic.
will have all their shield dials, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Well, until Clone Wars comes out. But uh, was it? Oh yeah. So for the products, I think another thing I really wanted to focus on going forward was making some more tournament-based uh, items. So and when I say tournament-based, I mean like making that transition from table to table even more seamless.
Hmm.
And so I've been trying to figure out a way to make something that is on my part that I can manufacture within a reasonable amount of time, right? Uh, but also make it so every list is so different in Armada, and you can have a ship have 8 upgrades, and then you can have that same ship with 2 upgrades.
Right.
And so how do I make something that's contained all in one, but can also be modular at the same time? So I've got some ideas on that. I don't want to share too much information because I don't want to promise anything, but I was hoping to have it done, for like Gen Con or whatever. So that's still potential
To
this
kind of
summer.
touch on that real quick, it almost seems like this is, and again, this might be something you're already doing, and again, you're still trying to make it work. But off the top of my head, did you kind of take that template of like your range ruler case with your SSD thing? I don't know what you call it,
Hmm.
the tray, and
Yep.
you make like a sliding mechanism, and like however many upgrade cards you need, that's how far like it slides out or something like that. I don't know. That's
Yeah,
just kind of
that
like
would
off the top of my
be
head.
difficult to make, but I think what I'll end up doing is more of a magnetically stacking tray system. So like
Yeah.
you'd be able to just take the trays and just stack them up one by one by one. And I want to give credit to Nick Griffiths. He's the one who mentioned that idea to me first,
Oh, good old
and so I've
Nick.
been mulling that over. And he's a great guy. I love playing against him. He's a phenomenal player, but um, he's at the local Indianapolis area around here.
Yes.
Uh,
I mean,
so I need to
anything
get
you can do to make transition between tables faster and easier, man, I'll throw money at you, please.
yeah. So I need to get on that. So and then obviously just the Clone Wars is coming out, and so I don't know if that's going to be in the next 8 months or if it's going to be the next 18 months. Um, but I'm interested to see what different stuff they throw at us and how I'll need to adjust to make sure that I want to make sure that everything people have now, hopefully, and with the way it's looking, everything we have now will still be very compatible. Um,
Oh,
but I know we're talking
yeah,
about changing the
I wouldn't anticipate any major shakeups from what they're already doing. I mean, in terms of like
right.
templates or anything like that. Maybe some new tokens.
Hmm.
I would assume new tokens because it's a new thing, and that's kind of like, when have we gotten an expansion and has not included like a new token in it?
Right. Those are easy to do. So
Yeah.
hopefully, it doesn't, they don't turn it all up on our heads. So even X-Wing, didn't change dramatically. You go in the 2.0.
Right. Yeah, because they don't want to completely alienate their player base. So I mean, I'm super excited about Clone Wars. What is something that you look forward to in Clone Wars? Then, I mean, we saw that some new cards that they dropped some of the cards for us. They haven't announced any of the ships or anything like that. But like, what do you think will be in the core set?
Oh man, I'm thinking they're gonna go. They don't want to like spill, you know, or you know, open the or give it all away at once. So I'm thinking the core set's probably gonna be like an acclimator and a couple like recusants or maybe munificent class ships.
Maleficent,
That's how you
yeah.
say it. I think they'll probably be smaller, kind of like how we got the Victory.
I,
I'm
I
sure the Venator will
yeah.
be a separate expansion.
That would be my guess too. That I would say that's a very safe bet based on like what is most popular in the shows, what we see the most, and things of
Right.
that nature. And I just think that for me, I'm just excited about Clone Wars because just new factions. Like I'm an Imperial player. I typically heavily play Imperial. Sometimes I'll play Rebels, but like, man, I want to see like clones and droids because like X-wing's got all the many millions of factions, and Legion's got Gungans and Ewoks or whatever. I don't think they actually have those yet, but one day I'm sure. It's like, man,
I agree.
Armada. It's like I want more.
I think the community and FFG is going to be shocked at the demand for Clone Wars Armada when it comes out. I know a lot of people, used to rag on the prequels or whatever, but people my age, I don't know how old you are, but I'm like 30,
Yeah.
and so I was prime age for when the prequels came out, right? Um, and I just, I'm thrilled with the idea that I'm gonna be able to have General Grievous, Obi-Wan Kenobi, my Venator fleet, my fleet of, uh, you know, Providence class ships flanked with, tri-fighter droids. I think I see a lot of people on the, forums that are like, I'm not as excited about Clone Wars, but the people who are excited about the Clone Wars aren't here yet.
That's right. Yeah,
I think it's going to be mind blowing how
yeah,
fast it'll grow.
because for Armada, I mean, it's popular. It is a popular miniatures. A lot of people think that Armada is not. It does. Like they say, oh, it doesn't sell well. Well, when FFG has had product on hand, and they actually have product to sell, it sells out
It's
instantly,
not
all the time. It's gone.
immediately.
Yeah.
I'll never forget in October of last year, or maybe it was 2019. My years are getting all mixed up here, but anyways, on eBay, a couple our Quentin light cruisers sold for $200 each.
Yeah, man. Oh,
Can you imagine paying $200 for a light cruiser? I mean,
nope.
that's just that's what the SSD cost.
Yeah, I
Full
just
price.
couldn't believe. Yeah, and the squadron packs were going for like 150 bucks each
They
or something like
were.
that.
It
It's
was
just crazy.
it was wild. I remember I bought an Imperial Squad 1 pack for $65,
Oh,
and I was looking at myself like, what am I
what
doing?
am I
What am
doing?
I doing here?
Well, I for luckily in my local area, it got bad, but I was usually really good about like finding packs, and I would point like the newer places, like, oh, hey, I saw some packs here in this store. And
Yeah.
one time, I even told the shop owner I was at a shop in Washington, Vancouver, and I walked in, and the shop owner has like 6 packs Imperial Squadron 1, 6 packs Rebel Squadron 1. I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, you got a gold mine here. He's like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, you don't know this stuff is selling for like 200 bucks on eBay? And his eyes just like, oh, you don't say. I'm like, oh crap, I shouldn't have told him
Yeah, like you better buy it all now.
but yeah, he just still had tons of stuff that was so hard to find, and everyone I could talk to that was looking for stuff, they went and bought out the product. That store owner was a really cool guy. He wouldn't have scalp prices like that. He did
Right.
end up selling all that stuff, but. So yeah, Clone Wars is going to be awesome. Being a playtester, I can't say much more than just the fact that I'm a playtester. There's just some really cool, awesome things in the pipeline. I'm really excited to see what is going to be coming out and what actually will get dropped, because as a play tester, and this is, I'm not breaking NDA or anything, what is gone through in the testing process is still not ultimately what is the final development approval that's given by the development team. So even as a tester, I'm still waiting in anticipation to see what the final product is.
Yeah.
So it's exciting, it's going to be great. And I really appreciate you taking the time to come on here and to go through your shop. What would I meant to ask this earlier? What would you say is like your crowning project that took, like, I don't know, your blood, sweat, and tears to get done, and then you're so happy to have like on your shop?
Oh, let's see. I would say it's those the template trays with the rulers. Um, each one is just a crafting process. And I'm just an absolute perfectionist, which is a pain in the butt sometimes because I'll get done with something, and if I'm not happy with the end product, I'll just throw it away and start from the beginning. Um, and so getting those to look the way I want them to, and then to be the quality that I want them to, is extremely important to me. And so I'll spend, a couple hours on each one of my time. And that, I mean, that's not even just counting the laser. I'm just talking about personal time,
Oh
just
my
making sure everything's
gosh.
perfect. So, because I really want people, when they get these items, they're paying a lot of money for them. I want them to feel like they're getting their money's worth. And so, and customer service is extremely important to me. And so I want to make sure, I don't think I'll ever be, perfect, or like, I'll have everybody I've ever dealt with happy. But I mean, I can proudly say up to this point, I've never had anybody who's I haven't been able to fix, which is just extremely important to me. I'll go over them, you know, I'll put a lot of effort in to fix whatever problems anybody has, because I want
Right.
to make sure they have that experience, because they're going to tell their friends about that experience.
It
Um,
to follow up on that. So I want to point out I've got this pulled up. So your average review is 5 stars, 570 reviews. I don't know if it breaks down what it all is, but if your average review of almost 600 reviews, 5 stars, that's just it just speaks to the quality. And I want to also just point out personally. So I ordered a damage deck from you, a damage deck
mhm.
holder, and I got it, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. It magnetically locks. Like, I was totally happy with it. I didn't think there was any problems, and then I get an email from you saying, hey, I sent you a damage deck holder. I'm not happy with it. I'm sending you a new one with better magnets. And I was just, I mean, if you wanted a customer for life, it's the fact that I didn't even know there was a problem. I was already totally satisfied, and you were just like, no, that was shit. I'm going to send you something better.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, absolutely. 'Cause I got those. I was like checking it because I got some new magnets in, and I was using them, and like, I had made yours, and then I made another one, and I just, I should check this. As I checked it, and it didn't work, and I was like, oh no, this is not good. Um, but
Well,
yeah,
that's fantastic. And again, just I wanted to show people that you're not just talking the talk, but you're also walking the walk, and it's deeply appreciated by the community and by everyone. Do you have any final thoughts or anything else you want to shout out or talk about? Or
I don't think so. This was great. Thanks for having me on.
yeah, man.
Um,
I for me it's I'm running out of cards to review. You know, I have to wait for Clone Wars. I only have very few left. And so I'm trying to do more, getting more involved in the community aspect and getting highlights. I don't think I'll ever do as much as what Krabick can do because man, that guy is a machine. He just
he
does so
he
many
is an
videos.
absolute just video monster.
Which is great. I'm not for anyone who thinks like I think that's great that he does that because Krabick is one of the best hype men. Like you give him something and like I need you to hype this, like he will hype it to death. And it's
Absolutely.
great
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah, I met him at I think it was Gen Con as well, and he was just an
Yeah.
absolutely awesome
He's
person,
super nice. Oh my
very
gosh.
personable.
Yeah.
He's got a great channel. I really want his channel to grow. I want your channel to grow. I
Oh.
watched so many Krabic videos. I watched so many of your upgrade card videos. I think I watched well, which one was it? The Rift, Gravity Rift
Gravity Rift?
Assault Objective. I think I watched that video at least 27 times before I figured it out.
Oh, the Rift
Uh,
Assault.
yeah. Uh, so
Yeah.
that and then
And that's the whole point was we're all trying to do things to better our community, better everyone else, and just try to be helpful. And again, this is Admiral Tater Tops. I'll make sure, or Admiral Tater Tops. Oh my gosh, I'm so
that's
sorry.
funny. No,
Admiral
no worries.
Tater Ship Shop. And I'll have the links and everything there for you guys. Please go check it out. I know for some of the items on there, for some of you, especially with what's going on, might be a little bit out of your price range, but just save up or even just I mean, he has so much on here that it costs just like pennies, like not pennies, but it's not it's you can get a bunch of cool stuff for not as expensive as you might think. And he's
Yeah.
got 10% going on right now. He's got free shipping going on right now. What do you have uh gosh, what I'm trying to say like a giveaway or something going on right too?
Yeah, so I try and do monthly giveaways, and I mean, it's just to try and help me grow my social media presence. But basically, if you help do like, comment, like, share on, the different platforms, Instagram and Facebook, at the end of the month, I put all the names that I collected into like a random generator, and it pops one out, and then I used to just be like maybe a rare expansion or a ruler set. And this year I was like, everyone's going through some tough times. I was like, let's do a $120 credit to the ship shop. So uh, on like May 1st, I'll announce the winner from April's, and they'll get $120 of whatever they want from the shop. And then in May, I've got to figure out another one. I try to keep them a little bit different, but because I know a lot of people already have rulers, so give them an option to order different stuff like tokens or ship trays. But I do want to say, like, I want to plug those simple range rulers again because I don't make my simple range rulers like the $12 or $17 painted version. I don't make those to make money. I only make those just so players have an option to get a cheap set of rulers that are acrylic. Like they're just there. That's my community product, you could say.
That's just fantastic because yeah, again, the rulers are durable. Like I've even just intentionally like I had another set and like I kind of like bent it and like I bent it and I bent it. I'm like, oh
Yeah,
no! But yours, like I kind of did like that quick flex test and that just popped right back perfectly straight, like nothing wrong with it. So
yeah, that's good. Yeah, and if anybody ever has any problems like with their products, and if anybody's listening to this, like, hey, my rulers are snapped in half, and I'm like, just send me a message.
I'm sure you do individual replacements as well. So, well, that's great.
Absolutely.
Thank you again, Garrett, for being on. Appreciate you being here, giving your thoughts, comments to my community at large. Please check out the shop. And if you have questions for Garrett, post them up on the YouTube channel. Contact him on a shop. Get something ordered. Uh, or my swayers, thank you so much for joining me. Hope you guys liked the video, and like always, I'll catch you next time.